Welcome back to another episode of Horizon.
My name is Jeremiah, this is Jonah and Sydney.
In today's episode, we will be covering class pets, virtual learning, and carpentry. Hey, have you guys ever thought about being bitten by a snake?
Now, why would I want to do that?
Being bitten by a snake, I couldn't imagine.
Well, yeah, I've been in classrooms where there are many animals like snakes and turtles.
Yeah, I heard that in Mr. Gross's classroom there's plenty of different types of pets and animals. I think we should go check it out.
Having a class pet can make school quite interesting. Mr. Gross's classroom, class 208, has pets living in his classroom.
I have 12 animals in the class right now. Valerie, Gravedigger, Sebastian, Frank, Janet, Skittles, Rocky, Slick, Brock, Brownie, Whitey, Layla, and Rita.
Out of all these animals, Mr. Gross only bought one. The rest are all rescues.
Janet is a ball python that I've had for 22 years, and she's the only animal that I actually bought. She's the first animal that I ever had in the classroom as a teacher. All of the other animals are rescues, either from students, Rita's from our former superintendent, or a number of the snakes are actually from the Charm City Reptile Rescue.
He also talks about what he feeds his snakes.
With snakes in particular, we try to feed them the biggest thing that they eat, that they can swallow. And so, Skittles is obviously the champ. And so he eats, 4 to 6 pound rabbits once every 2 weeks.
I asked Mr. Gross if he's ever been bitten. This is what he had to say.
I think I've been bitten by just about everything in here, including the chinchillas and the turtle. And I would say 100% of the time, it's been my fault.
He says that all of his pets do well with the students, but there's one in particular that he calls the superstar.
Janet is like probably the superstar. She's a ball python, and you could literally take her out, and if everybody was calm and careful, you could pass her around the class. She's completely non-aggressive.
He also talks about the bonds the animals have with the students.
Even now in class, now that we're back from the pandemic, they have students that are their favorites, that check on them every day and talk to them. So that kind of thing, I think, makes it worth it to have them.
Wow, I always get that wilderness feeling from his classroom. But did you guys know why that bus situation was such a problem?
Yeah, I heard that we might be going back to virtual learning or something like that.
Yeah, I know some people had some serious issues with virtual learning.
Yeah, virtual learning honestly probably wasn't one of the best ideas we could have had because it affected so many different families and students in so many different ways.
Yeah, I even think I slipped up a few times. But this brings us into our second topic, which is virtual learning.
Ever since the pandemic, all of our lives have been different. We were stuck at home during quarantine and didn't have much contact with outside people.
I really liked my life before the pandemic, let's say that. Like, I showed up to school, I was active, I did so many things that I couldn't do when the pandemic hit.
During that time, we spent an entire year doing online school from the comfort of our home. Coming back to school this year was a really weird thing because we've been stuck at home and made brand new habits.
I found myself less social, let's say that. I wasn't as, I couldn't talk to people as much as I did before. I was more quiet. Last year I was more outgoing, more talkative, and then I just didn't know how to talk to people anymore. I don't know, it was so sudden and it's weird.
A lot of us have found it weird to wake up and go to school or talking to our classmates. There's been a lot of challenges that we had to overcome so we could go back to our old ways and going into school.
Yeah, it was weird, actually. I was so used to seeing everything on the screen and the teachers, just emailing them, Schoology, and not waking up early because the schedule would be different, We have to wake up at 6 now, but before it was at 8, as soon as 8. It gave me more time to sleep, which I liked better. Now I struggle waking up because I'm so used to not waking up this early.
We've been in school for a few months and have made huge progress in getting back to our routine.
I've interacted with people way more now. I made new friends. I'm more social and I am getting back to my talkative you know, like before.
Hey Jeremiah, what did the lumberjack say to the tree?
What did he say, Sydney?
May I ask you something?
You're corny.
Okay, well that brings us to our next topic today, carpentry.
Let's take a nail at it.
Delcastle Carpentry seniors are back in the building and have started building a house inside their shop. Mr. Gamber talks about the beginning steps students take.
Like right now, we're actually working on perfecting the use and the safety features of using a circular saw. So we have a few small exercises that we do so that they can practice the proper use of a circular saw before we actually start working on the house.
In the process of building the house, the safety of students become one of the top priorities for the teachers. He goes into talking about the concerns he has for the students.
The only concerns we have primarily, I think it's a great learning experience, but at times because it is more of a real project and because we work in such large groups, sometimes there's concerns with safety, just making sure, especially with being able to climb up in high spaces and with some of the things that we do, just that the students work safely.
While building a house, a lot of teachers have to pay really close attention to the students. He goes into talking about if the students have done any red flags while building the house.
So far, I've never had any real red flags. As you asked before, as far as the safety concerns would probably be my only really red flag if students were doing something that just didn't seem safe.
He talks about how the students in his shop get pretty excited to finally begin building the house, since they have to wait until their senior year to officially start building. Building the same house over and over again could be pretty tiring, especially when the same person has to go over the directions every year, but that's not the case for him.
The biggest thing is we try to treat it as if it were a real live job site. So the opportunities for them to work outside, if they don't, with what we give them here on the inside, we try to make it as real as we can.
He also talks to us about if the students have requested anything else besides the house.
The interest in shop is pretty great, so there's always an interest in doing other things. There's always people from the outside are always interested in the students doing extra projects. So yeah, there's always something else we can do besides the house project.
Mr. Gamber also talks about the benefits students can take out of having to experience building the house.
Being is because every year I get a different group of students, and each student's approach to how we do the project, it's a different change every year. Even though it seems like it's the same building, it is a change just because of the students that we have.
We hope you enjoyed watching.
And that wraps it up for today's episode. Again, I am Jonah.
I'm Jeremiah.
And I'm Sydney.
And we are Horizon. Stay tuned for next week's episode. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Delcastle Digital Media. Leave a like and a comment down below what your favorite topic that we discussed today is. You have a great day.